Today I'm going to apply 6B pencil. Now 6B is my darkest graphite pencil that I am using on this project, which means it's also the softest graphite pencil I will be using. So I really need to take caution of smearing. So it's more important than ever that as I am working on this, that I have that extra sheet of paper to place under my hand anytime my hand is going to rest on my project. I already have a layer of 2B pencil down, and 2B will also smear because it is soft, and so will HB. So as I'm working here, I really need to take precautions because I've worked to create some nice textures through my shading, some nice form through my shading, and contrast of lights and darks that I don't want to now destroy any of that by rubbing my hand against my project as I'm shading with my last pencil. This will not be the last step in our project. We will have one more step after this, but this will be my last application of new graphite pencil. So my goal with 6B is to come in and try to darken up areas as dark as I need them, and to help build up more contrast and more form and more texture in my project. So I'm going, as with previous pencils, I will be using circular shading in larger areas that I don't need to bring out any type of texture, just to work in value, and purposeful directional shading where I need to work with texture again. As previously stated, I am going to have control over my pencil, and even though this is the last fresh pencil I'm going to apply, I still want to make sure I am continuing to take care of my application and my observation of the value changes in my work. So as I begin to apply my 6B pencil, I'm going to be able to, unlike the other pencils, use the heaviest pressure and the darkest value where it is needed, because 6B is going to give me my darkest values on my drawing. So if I really need to try to bring out a really dark value, I can now apply the 6B with my heaviest pressure. I have no other pencil I'm going to lay down on top of 6B, so 6B can take up the rest of the tooth and fiber. But again, as I cautioned before, what I don't want to do is damage the paper. So when I talk about the heaviest pressure for my 6B pencil, it is the heaviest, darkest value I can create without damaging the paper, without stretching out the fibers, causing that bubbling of the paper because I've pressed too hard. So it is going to be a little bit of a balance. As I suggested before, since 6B is a newer pencil to you, you may want to pull out that sheet of paper you had before and test out what the darkest value of 6B will be. And there may be instances where you have to use a lighter pressure of it, so you can practice a couple of different pressures with the 6B so you can find out its range. So you can get a lighter value with 6B, but those ones should already be pretty well established with our other pencils. So you're definitely going to be working with your darkest application, and a range in between it and medium would be my guess. Since 6B is a softer graphite pencil, we do want to take caution of using it in the lighter areas, because as we talked about yesterday, you can see a lot of the white paper showing through here because 6B graphite is going to want to sit on the surface when applied very lightly. So if I do need to go in and darken an area, but not to my darkest or dark medium values of 6B, then I may want to pull out another pencil that I've used previously to do that. But for today, I'm just going to concentrate on creating my darkest black areas. And again, control of my pencil movements is going to be a key factor in finishing up my graphite pencil application. So I'm going to begin. So let me take a moment here to just show you what this is actually doing with the 6B. So I know it's hard to see with, again, our light source being above, graphite being a very reflective material. It's a little hard to see the darkening process clearly, but if I lift this up to the side, so that I'm not getting that reflection. Can you see up here in this section where I've started the 6B, how much darker my values can get from the 2B? And being that it's my last pencil for developing values, I can go in with my heaviest pressure. Again, I don't want to damage the paper. I don't want to cause it to buckle and stretch, but I can go in with a fairly heavy pressure to get my darkest black value. So, and that's what I was trying to show a little bit down here when I went into the last couple of spots here by holding this up, so you can actually see that it is going to darken up and give you that darkest black value of all of our pencils. So this is what I'm going to continue to do, is go in and fill in my darkest black areas with my 6B. Some areas where I may already have some 2B and HB, if I need to adjust the gray values to a little bit darker than what they are, I can probably do that with some 6B. I may have to go in again with some HB or 2B for that, but again, that's something we're going to analyze a little bit later. So right now I'm concentrating on just adding the black to the areas that need the black darkest values, and then we'll analyze the work when that part is done. So that's going to be my end of using 6B pencil. We have one last step to work with in this drawing exercise, and that will be to go back and look for any finishing touches and details that we want to bring out in our drawing and values. So 6B was used to apply my darkest blacks to my composition. And again, as I mentioned before, you do want to pick this up every once in a while, look at it more from a vertical point of view than from a laying down point of view, because graphite has such a reflective surface. It's sometimes difficult to see your values and your changes. So every once in a while you want to pick that up, get that glare off of it so you can observe better your value changes that you created with the pencils. So that's it for 6B. In my next and most likely last video on this project, we'll talk about making adjustments, touching up areas, and going through some other pencils that we've used before to better match values in our drawing. I'll see you next video.